Call this meeting to order. Everyone please rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The pledge will be led tonight by Eagle Scout Nathaniel Pagendarm.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to, please, Nathaniel, stand up here for a moment. At this time, I'd like to call on Legislator Craig Lopez to present a Pride of Ulster County Award to Nathaniel and invite Nathaniel to tell us a few words about his project.
Well, I've had the opportunity over the past few years of presenting a number of Ulster County Pride Awards to Eagle Scouts, and the one thing that I find most in common is what exceptional young men these Eagle Scouts are. They're they're leaders of their generation. They're leaders in the community, and most importantly, they're the leaders of tomorrow in this country. And the other thing that I found with all these Eagle Scouts is that they also have exceptional parents. You know, the parents, they're in part the reason that these Eagle Scouts, you know, are so well accomplished and such great leaders. So I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize his parents as well and ask everybody here to give them a round of applause. So that said, I also want to present a Pride of Ulster County Award presented by the Ulster County Legislature to Nathaniel Pagendarm, BSA Troop 37 Pine Bush, New York, in recognition and honor of achieving Boy Scouts of America's highest honor, Eagle Scout. So congratulations.
Hello, I'm Nathan Pagendam. I'm from Boy Scout Troop 37. I recently attained the rank of Eagle Scout on October 6th. For my Eagle project at the Church of Infant Savior in Pine Bush, we had a crucifix that was done and donated by a local person. And I took and I made a meditation garden for my Eagle project. The meditation garden consisted of a light that shines on the crucifix nowadays, and a bench with a bunch of gardens around it. So we cleaned up the area and made a nice garden for it now. So I would like to thank you guys for the award.
Congratulations, Nathaniel. Well deserved. Now the clerk has some announcements for all of us.
Fire evacuation plan. Please note that in the event of an emergency, the fire department has requested that legislators and all others move at least 1 block away from the county office building in order not to impede the firefighters in their duties. Cell phones. Please silence cell phones for the duration of the session. Microphones. Please be reminded to use your microphone when speaking so that you are recorded for the official record. Roll call. Allen.
Here.
Bartels.
Here.
Belfilio.
Here.
Berkey. Briggs. DeLon.
Here.
Donaldson.
Here.
Fabiano. Jarentine. Green. Kepner. Lapp. Litz. Lopez. Lauren. Mayo. Maloney. Parody John. Parody Richard. Roberts. Rodriguez. Ronk.
Here.
Waro.
Here.
23 present, 0 absent.
Fantastic. We have some birthdays this month. Legislator Thomas Briggs, March 7th. Legislator Ron Lapp, March 12th. Fiscal Analyst Don Quisnell, March 13th. Legislative Staff Fawn Tantillo, March 17th. Legislator Chris Allen, March 24th. Legislator Peter Lauren, March 26th. And Legislative Counsel Nick Pascal, March 27th. And I think this might be a good time. I just wanted to mention it in front of you all. I know you all received a communication from me about it, but congratulations are due to Jay Mahler, who's been promoted to the rank of Deputy Clerk. I'd like to entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Of course, as always, there are various communications on file. Anybody who wants to read any of them, just contact the clerk's office. And at this time, we're into presentations. So at this time, I'd like to call upon District 22 Legislator John Parody to present a Pride of Ulster County Award to Joseph and John Strauss in recognition of their quick action coming to the aid of a seriously injured skier. My pleasure.
Just a few remarks, my fellow Americans. No, I'll put this away. I'm going to ask Ted Scar to come up for a second. Ted is a friend of ours and a friend of the two young men, and just briefly explain what these two young men did. I mean, in life, you often find situations that arise, and some folks respond, some people respond in a way that really makes you have confidence and makes you feel proud of them and what they've accomplished. Some people run the other way when there's a problem. Ted, would you just do a little of the explaining for me, please?
I'm glad to. Well, it's great to be in this assemblage today. I've never done this before with this group, so I'm really proud to be here. But I'm especially proud of these two young men over here. I was called as the first responder to an accident at Bel-Air Mountain. It still gets me here. When I got there, as these firemen know around the room, when the first thing that I look for is scene safety. These two young gentlemen over here had that scene nailed down for me. The younger man in the group, John, took off down the mountain to report the incident. That's what led to my response. I didn't know it at the time. The older of the two sons, Joseph, became very important to me because in my doing the first primary assessment and the complete assessment on this very critical injury, Joseph was behind me the whole time, assuring that nobody was going to bump into me, that I could continue to do my job, and that the other three people that showed up at that accident scene had a chance to do their job safely. The outcome would not have been what it was without these two young men. And I can say a lot more, but trust me, young men is what they are. I've known them as kids growing up, and they had spit and vinegar in them like their father. But they are now young men, and it's because the family, the Boy Scouts, the other activities that they're involved in, that they have become what they are. So I say this to them.
Thanks, Ted. Ted and I played softball together many years ago when the boys fill in. I want to thank their coach, too, their ski coach from Monteor, Herbie Citron. Herb is a coach. He's a stickler on fundamentals. He helped me when I was coaching a football team, and the head coach told me I was in charge of the kickers. Imagine that. Herb was a soccer coach. He come up and spent every night, and we won a number of games because we had youngsters that could kick 25 to 35-yard field goals. And Kim and Joe, you guys deserve to be real proud of the boys. This is a life-threatening situation that these lads did exactly what they were supposed to, and they're certainly glad that Ted Scar was one of the folks that was able to respond. So would you two guys come on up, and I'll read the award from the chairman. Thanks, guys. And this is in recognition of your heroic effort, courage, and quick thinking to save a life of a fellow skier, actually a competitor on the other team, which is sort of irrelevant, but it shows their dedication. This competitor suffered severe injuries, and today the young lad is recovering and doing well, and these guys are, I'm very proud to say that I've known these guys since before they were born, and their mom and dad, and it's great to be recognizing folks, young people in particular, for doing good stuff. So thanks, guys, very much. I do like Herbie's Fu Manchu over there, huh? Look at him. We're going to do a slide all over just a tad. I'd like you, John. Yes, ma'am. Step over here a couple steps. Yes, ma'am. And gentlemen, I'm going to put one of you on either side of John. There we go. Oh, perfect.
All right, and then Nancy, you're right up here. Get everybody, let me get out of the way. Get your picture. Get that up on Facebook. Okay, and I'm gonna take a couple, put on our Facebook page. I'll get my camera to work here. Not talking. Here we go. Quite a good-looking group. We're very proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
We're very pleased to have quite a few students representing Ellenville High School with us tonight, and at this time I'd like to call up Legislator T.J. Briggs to do a little presentation.
Chairman, with your permission, I'd also like to call up Craig Lopez. If he's here, he does represent the area, and he is chair. I have the distinct honor this evening of introducing some young men and women from the Ellenville High School that did some videos concerning the stoppage of smoking. It kind of correlates a little bit with the law that we passed last year. I call it the 1,000-foot law, you know, in an effort to keep children from the ability to purchase cigarettes and being enticed to purchase cigarettes within 1,000 foot of schools and so on. You know, it's an honor tonight to see not only an Eagle Scout, but two young men that are, you know, helped on a ski slope, young men and women from the high school. And this is what we really should, you know, this is what, hello, press people? Yeah, this is what should be on the front page of the paper, okay? I know it doesn't sell as many papers, and I know Hugh's not paying attention, but these are the folks that we should be honoring, because this is what is special, and this is what we should look forward to, because this is our future. And I got to tell you, from what I've seen so far, and the young men and women that I'm going to bring up here in a couple of minutes, I think the future is pretty bright, and I think we have a lot to be proud of. So instead of looking at some not nice individual that's on the front page of the paper because he thinks he should be the president of the United States or whatever else, I'd like to see an Eagle Scout on the paper, even if it's one day a week. One day a week, make me happy. Maybe don't sell as many papers, but make me happy. So with my little soapbox, I'll jump off it real quick. But that's what it's about, and we have a lot to be proud of. And after I get done, when we see the firemen that are of service here, and honoring one of their own who is retiring from many years of service also to our county and our community, we have much to be proud of. And this is the stuff that we have to look at, and this is the stuff that sets us apart. So when times get real tough, think back on tonight and just realize how cool this is. How many special people we have around us. These are our neighbors, and they're there. And I know the firematic people especially. I'm lucky enough, I've got 40 plus years in EMS. When it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's 10 below zero, these guys come out. I don't know how they do it. I always froze to death. That's why I stayed in EMS. But there's a lot to be proud of here. So that being said, I want to call upon some folks from Tobacco Free Action Communities, TFAC, and Ellen Reinhardt. Ellen, come on up. Come on up. Lead coordinator is Diane Moore and Lori Rotolo. Also, the instructor, Tim Lukazeski. How did I do? Okay, Tim?
Very good.
All right. And I think we have 5 students with us today. Andrew Lemondola. Come on up, Andrew. Matthew Little. Come on up. Messiah Otero. Donnie Pays. And Christian Valdez. Was Christian able to make it? Okay, all right. Are we going to show the video? Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Yeah, let's show the video, and then we'll finish up. Okay.
slow internet.
Exactly. I was just had the broadband initiative so they get too far.
Legislator Perry, can we get Verizon to do something about this?
Yeah. Where's Fios? Where's Fios?
Hey. Jay, I'll just go on.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Computer glitch. Where'd the ladies run off to? I think they have it, but that's. Diane, do you want to say a couple words real quick?
Yeah, so what you've just seen up here, and you would have seen if it continued, were videos that were produced by the Ellenville High School's Media Arts team, and under the direction of Tim and Alan over there. They produce these videos to raise awareness about point-of-sale marketing and how it affects youth smoking rates. And what was so interesting to me was that they came into this project and really from a baseline of not knowing much about it, they learned so much. They researched it. They used their talent, their technical skills, and they put together some very effective videos that are, I think, a great way that now we at TFAC are going to be able to bring them out into the community and educate people about point-of-sale marketing and its effects on youth smoking rates. And especially exciting is the fact that while we took notice and you took notice, also on a national level, it's an organization called Counter Tobacco, and they can be found at countertobacco.org, has also recognized the work of these young people, and they have been featured on their national website and in their newsletter that's going out to all national partners. So that was another exciting thing.
All right, so I'll present the Pride Awards. In recognition of an outstanding educational point-of-sale prevention video bringing awareness to the intensive tobacco marketing efforts targeted at children throughout retail outlets located near schools, Andrew Lemondola. And Donnie Pace.
Do the other folks that were with you for Friday come on?
Nope.
All right.
I don't like to give them to be recognized.
All right. I just need to get you in there with them and Legislator Briggs. That would be great. We're gonna do this and turn them around so I can see the seal in the front of them. Okay. And one more for good luck. Thank you, gentlemen.
Just so the legislature is aware, we do have the link for those videos, and we're going to make sure that the clerk's office sends them all out so we can see them all in their entirety. For the next two presentations, I'm going to be coming down, so I'm going to ask Jim Maloney to come up and take the dais for me. But before I do that, I just want to very briefly, while I'm still up here, acknowledge everyone who serves on the Fire Advisory Board or has served on the Fire Advisory Board. Please stand and be recognized for your service. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to also have Legislator Gerantine representing the town of Marlborough and Legislator Ron Lapp on the Fire Advisory Board. Please come up and join me. And Mary Beth Mayo, of course, from representing Milton.
evening, everybody. Thank you very much. As TJ was talking about before, family, the interest of Eagle Scouts, other people regarding demonstrating their needs of help. Being a fireman, and I'm not a fireman, but we have a gentleman here tonight who has demonstrated a lot of years of service. And in saying that, the town of Marlborough Hose Company, which have their members there, quite substantial in count tonight. Thank you for coming, as being a part of a family. Mr. Tronsolito has been very active in the fire district. He was 36 years as a fire chief. He was over 50 years and still serving as a member of the Fire Hose Company and also being a member of the Fire Advisory Board. Mr. Tronsolito, Robert, as I can call him because I know Robert for many years, actually lived right up the street from me. I gave him many Prides of Ulster County Awards over the years, very deserving of those prides. But when growing up, he was, I guess he directed me into the direction I am tonight. And saying, I don't know. But he is a very distinct member of our community. He has demonstrated his community service to the town of Marlborough. Even though he lives in Milton, he's very active in Milton along with his wife. And you can't say enough about Mr. Tronsolito and what he has done for the community. It's wish you weren't leaving, Robert. I know you're still part of the active fire district, but being chief, I didn't know anybody as chief other than Robert throughout my life. But you know, it's very remarkable that someone serves in a capacity of 36 years as a chief of a fire district. And actually, while he was there, he had done many positive things to the fire district. If you come down there, you see the equipment they have, the expertise they have, the training they have. And it's not all because of you, Robert. There's the people around you, too, that have devoted a lot of time. But he was very instrumental in getting a lot of this stuff implemented. And I'm sure the fire company will carry forth with that. But in saying that, we will give a Pride of Ulster County award, but in the meantime, I think Chairman Ronk would like to say a few words regarding the Fire Advisory Board.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. Bob, you want to come up?
Sure.
You know, I see a lot of really great folks over there, and Bobby's a great one, but he's only one of the many great gentlemen I see over there, and ladies, Peg. You know, the Fire Advisory Board does yeoman's work for this county, and you know, Bob and I served all of the years he served in the Fire Advisory Board. I was on there for good or for bad. I think sometimes for good at least. And
I'll get into that later.
But without those guys, and a lot of people don't know this, without those guys, the Ulster County Fire Training Center wouldn't be moving forward. And they deserve a big round of applause. Come out here on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, up all the way up to the county building from all over the county. You know, it's Wednesday. You know, it's a thankless job. They do it for no pay and no glory, but they do a fantastic job. And I also want to recognize sitting with them is our fire coordinator, Charlie Mutz, too. With that having said, Mary Beth?
Pride of Ulster County, an award presented by the Ulster County Legislature to Robert Tronsolito. Congratulations and best wishes on your retirement, serving 36 consecutive years as Fire Chief of Marlborough Hose Company No. 1 and 5 years of service with the Fire Advisory Board. The effort and sacrifice both you and your family have made over the years serving your community and all of Ulster County as a volunteer are admirable. this 15th day of March, signed Kenneth J. Ronk Jr., Chairman of the Ulster County Legislature.
Most of the time, I'm not lost for words, but sometimes it happens. First of all, I'd like to thank the legislative body for their commitment to the fire service. There's a couple of key projects that are in the works and going on, and I can't thank you enough. Fire Advisory Board, when I was there, where's Mr. Ronk? I'm here. I'm going to get into a couple of things. The passion that I had for what I did, and still active for 51 years, and ask my wife, I still get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the calls, so that's not going away. But the passion that I have, and I always will have for the fire service, is the passion that you have to make Ulster County a better county. And the passion that I had, and the passion that Kenny had, sometimes a little bit difference of opinion. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, we hugged and kissed, and everything was the way it was supposed to be. But to thank, again, the fellow members of the Fire Advisory Board, excuse me, what I see over there from my organization, it's touching. I try to keep my composure, but sometimes it's a little difficult. What Richie was saying before, my job was not a one-man job. Fire chief has to rely on all his people that he has, and I was blessed over the years. I mean, I look at what's out there tonight, the best of the best. We've strived for the proper training. We strive for all the positive things that you try to do in the fire service, and I've been blessed, and I thank my people. I thank them. I'll always be their chief, contrary to, I still get called chief, and that's fine. I've been called a lot of other things too over the years, but that's that's debatable. But again, I have to thank you people for supporting the fire service. And Kenny's going to lead us the way? Hope so. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me just bring his wife up. Before we let Mr. Tronsolito leave, I think, like you said before, that your family over there, who's been very gracious to you over the years and have supported you at times, a lot of times, but there again, there's one person who probably has supported you more than anybody, and Robert would be remiss if we not bring your wife up. Gentlemen, if you'd like to come up, and ladies, our fire hose, come on up. Fire Advisory Board.
any of the media that wants to come up and get pictures too, please come on up and join us. Okay.
I know.
What a great shot.
Is the woman with the guy look in this?
Did you? I think
Behind the guy with the hat.
yeah, we're gonna have the desks in there. Okay. One more. All right, wait 1 second. Got it?
You don't want to stay for the resolutions? Clear right out.
And they lost.
It's fine.
Let's go. Come on, I want to see Trump announce that he's the presidential nominee.
And now we have one last presentation tonight after the entire room emptied out. This is a very special presentation for me. Thank you. This is a very special presentation for me. It's the Ulster County Directory, the cover unveiling. And at this time, I'd like to ask my good friend Rich Barnhart from the wonderful town of Shongum to come on up. Sometimes we forget how much natural beauty impacts us here in Ulster County. I chose the picture that's going to grace the front of the directory. It was chosen out of all of the submissions that former Chairman Parity was so kind enough to request from throughout the county. It was one of the finalists, and it's one of my absolute favorite views in Ulster County. And the added bonus is that it was taken by a great friend, a great neighbor, and a constituent of mine from the hamlet of Walkhill. Congratulations, Rich, and thank you for sharing your talent with all the residents of Ulster County. And with that, why don't you turn it around for us? Rich, would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Reflection.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know that you had many very important issues that come before you this evening, and the emergency service people, and having been one of those once upon a time, it's easy to drive up and down the roads of our beautiful county that we have here and take for granted that we're thinking about jobs and work and doing this and doing that. But when I retired from the police at SUNY New Paltz, I started in on this hobby of photography. And I must say that today there's a much greater appreciation on my part. We really do have a very, very beautiful place where we live. And I very much, as a photographer, appreciate the work you folks do to ensure that that kind of beauty and that bucolic setting that we live through every day of the week is protected and enhanced. So whether it be from Bel Air Mountain to the Shangam Ridge to Marlborough, some of the historic areas that we have, I've just enjoyed. My greatest critics, and I'm not a trained professional photographer. This is strictly a hobby that I began to develop once I had the time to do it and I retired. My best critics, my wife Ann, and my daughters who passed judgment, and of course my neighbor Kenny, who said, "Rich, I kind of like that picture." So thank you very much. It's really, I'm gratified by your appreciation of my work of art.
For those of you who don't know where this is, it's right in the hamlet of Wallkill on the beautiful Wallkill River, and this tree right here is a special tree because often a bald eagle will be seen sitting on that dead tree. So, Rich,
I've been yet to catch it.
This Pride of Ulster County Award is presented to Richard A. Barnhart in recognition of your talent and skill as a photographer, providing the beautiful fall reflection on the Hudson River, gracing the cover of the 2016 Ulster County Directory. Congratulations. Now, thank you, legislators, for all of your patience through all those presentations, but I gotta tell you, it's always gratifying to see so many of our constituents come up to be honored. It's really a privilege that we have here. Now, at this time, we're going to move into the majority and minority platform speeches. I'm pleased to call upon my good friend, Majority Leader Mary Beth Mayo, to give us the Majority Leader's address.
Chairman, friends, and colleagues, having heard the Chairman's and the Executive's vision for 2016, I am excited to be your Majority Leader at a time of great potential and opportunity. I feel blessed to be part of the growing success of Ulster County as we continue to fulfill our role, helping people, protecting the public, building the economy, and ensuring that Ulster County is a great place to live, work, and flourish. A key asset at the disposal of the Legislature in carrying out our role is the collective wisdom of our members. Looking at my colleagues in the Republican caucus, the diversity of talent is quite impressive. We have expertise in technology, communication, finance and planning, public works and construction, law enforcement and economic development, farming and education. We have members who work with the very young and others who work with the seniors. We have some who run small businesses and others who oversee billion-dollar projects. Equal in value to our vast experience is our mutual respect and camaraderie. Even when we don't agree, we listen, we learn, and often find solutions that are better than anyone would have first considered. As I look across the aisle, I see similar experience and talent. Working together is imperative. I support Chairman Ronk's efforts to appoint the best people to standing committees and advisory committees regardless of party affiliation in many cases. We should not worry about standing as a Republican or a Democrat, but as the representatives of our community, doing what's best for our families, neighbors, children, seniors, for all. What are some goals to keep in view as we work through this legislative year? First, I applaud the creation of the Government Efficiency and Review Committee. One of the stated functions of that committee is to review past enactments, including local laws and policies of the legislature, for efficacy, impact on county residents, and the presence or non-presence of enforcement. Legislation can feel good, but enforcing it such at times seems to be the challenge. It is important that we look back to ensure our resolutions and local laws are working as we envisioned and have no unintended consequences we need to address. Second, but just as important, is remaining vigilant in the area of capital project oversight. We need to be more proactive with our oversight of some larger projects. Previous legislatures have passed resolutions to establish a clear, transparent, and consistent process for the management of capital projects. Far too often, the first time we see what is happening on some capital projects is when it is at a critical stage and needs our immediate action. So far, we have been fortunate, but with some recent projects like Strive, we were asked to approve several late resolutions involving thousands of dollars with sometimes only a few minutes to consider. We don't need to micromanage every capital project, but we should have more oversight of projects that are of great public interest or over a certain dollar amount. For example, with the passage of resolution number 488 last year, the legislature adopted a policy for proposed uses of the UND corridor. We need to follow through to ensure that the cooperation and hard work of the UND Corridor Committee and various dedicated stakeholders can develop into a working relationship that guarantees this valuable asset is developed responsible. On that important note, I respectfully propose the Chairman create an oversight committee to monitor the future of the UND Corridor. Clearly, plans are well underway to spend millions of dollars on a capital project to build a trail across the Ashokan Reservoir. The RFP required in resolution number 488 for all future railroad operations is on track, pardon my pun, to go out to the end of March. Yet to date, the RFP has not been shared with us. After all the hard work of the UND Corridor Advisory Committee, we need to be part of the process to develop this public asset before it comes before us for a vote. We need to ensure the continued benefits of railroad events to businesses in Uptown Kingston, as well as expanding trail use throughout the corridor. It is important that the development of this asset is open and transparent. As a former colleague once said, you don't get what you expect, you get what you inspect. Third and finally, we must renew interest in promoting more transparency in county government. To that end, I will bring forward a county policy to post all public notices and legal notices on our county website. This is a cost-effective way to use an existing resource to reach the public with these important notices, and I'm hoping this will encourage our increased feedback and public participation at public hearings. Because actions speak louder than words, I am submitting that resolution for April, and I have copies to share with you tonight. In closing, I want to congratulate Chairman Ronk on the positive tone he is setting for this body. Our caucus agrees with the chairman that economic development needs to be a top priority. Today's groundbreaking technologies can happen anywhere. A company has access to the internet, transportation, and a motivated workforce. More and more entrepreneurs are looking to qualify of life issues as they relocate to and develop their business plan, and Ulster County has it all. We have easy access to transportation, including 3 exits on the New York State Thruway, award-winning schools and universities, and we're truly a 4-season destination. Ulster County is the county to be reckoned with, but it doesn't happen by one hand, and it doesn't happen overnight. Let's face these challenging times together, because I believe from the bottom of my heart that with all our strength, resources, capabilities, intelligent wisdom, and experience, we will not just overcome these challenges, but we will indeed thrive and have the best year ever.
And now I am very pleased to call upon my good friend, the Minority Leader Hector Rodriguez, to give the Minority Leader's address.
Everybody settle in. All those years that I didn't speak on the floor, I'm going to take right now.
What years were those?
2004 to the present. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Majority Leader, Mr. Majority and Minority Whip. Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for this opportunity to share the views of the Democratic caucus. On a personal note, you and I have had the pleasure of serving together in our 20s and now together in our 30s. In many ways, you and I grew up in this room. This legislature. It is my hope that this shared history will yield a bipartisan vision that helps all of the people of Ulster County. The Democratic Caucus has always been the party of action, of ideas, of passion. I mean this is no offense to the other side of the aisle, but you know Democrats will debate any point, anywhere, at any time. We are so passionate, sometimes we debate ourselves. We are blessed with 3 new members in our caucus. Legislator Hepner of, as he says, the fighting 23rd District up in Woodstock. Legislator DeLawn of the 17th District in New Paltz and Esopus, my colleague. And Legislator Berkey of the 7th District in Kingston. Each brings valuable skills to the legislature, and each has big shoes to fill. They join a veteran caucus that includes former chairs Donaldson and Parody, Legislators Lauren, Briggs, Bartels, Allen, Green, to create a mix of old and new. I want to take a brief moment to thank our County Executive, Michael Hine. You might find that odd, given that we have not always gotten along too well these past few months, but we forget how well county government runs today. Much of that credit goes to Mike. He may not always get it right, but he gets it right more often than not. It's a track record that's pretty good in public service. That said, this will be a year of challenge in our relationship with the executive. The legislature has been through the crucible the past few years. For the first time in our history, we have more legislators that were elected post-charter than pre-charter. As you go around this room, you will begin to notice that there are more legislators who were elected after the charter was already passed than before. And that means that the old rules no longer apply. While veteran legislators can remember governing in the old regime, our newer members are not bound by the old ways of doing business. There's a new energy in this room, and the executive will have to be prepared to deal with a legislature willing to assert itself and its policies. The saying goes, you need to know where you've been before you know where you're going. Before tonight's speech, I requested copies of the majority and minority addresses for the past 6 years. And you'll notice a pattern. We often talk about economic development, of fiscal discipline, of reform. And that's not to say that we don't do these things, or that these issues can be solved in a single year or a single legislative term. However, we need to do more than just talk about issues. We need action. To this end, the Democratic Caucus presents one of the most ambitious agendas to date. We may have built a better government at a better price. We may have changed the face of government through the charter process, but this time our caucus proposes to take a firm hand in guiding our government. One of the first issues that we are going to be addressing: paid family leave. For far too long, parents and families have made the hard choices to take care of loved ones and being at work. I do not need to explain to the mothers and fathers in this room that there's always a need to spend time with children, especially newborns. Our caucus believes it's high time for Ulster County to take the lead. Currently, there are proposals at state level for a 12-week paid family leave. If that measure does not pass this session in Albany, the Democratic Caucus has asked myself and Minority Whip Lauren to craft a local version. And this will be something that we will be reaching out to both sides of the aisle to go and kind of craft a document that will be reflective of our values. On energy. First, I'd like to congratulate the executive for his work in proposing the 4 megawatts of solar in our county that's going to be on that landfill in town. And it's a solid first step. We are now seeing proposals for other solar energy installations throughout the county. However, there are some problems with companies putting harmful language in their contracts with local landowners that hurt local interests. Legislator Mana Jo Green, I want to thank you. Mana will be working with local farmers and large landowners to ensure that private companies are helping our local economy, helping our local landowners, not making land grabs that do not benefit Ulster County residents. Legislator Bartels will be dusting off an oldie but a goodie, as my father would say, using the Ulster County Law Enforcement Facility as a site for solar energy. I believe it was back in your first term, Tracy, that you proposed a resolution to do just that. As a matter of fact, I think I was still here. Flash forward 13 years later, and it still has not been done. The jail represents one of our best opportunities to incorporate solar directly into our operations. Solar hot water could work there as well as solar electric. It's a flat roof, and the jail could be a shining example to both sustainability and economic sense. Finally, Legislator Hepner will be working with Legislators Berkey and Bartels on a resolution to close Indian Point. Now, as somebody who was involved in this previously, I'm very happy that a new generation of leaders are going to be taking on this important issue. And we continue to find new problems at an old facility. If a nuclear facility can be shut down because of birds, you know you've got a problem. Healthcare. Chris Allen continues to be our caucus expert in areas of healthcare, and I remain impressed with his knowledge and ability to recall important details of our very own healthcare plan. If you have a certain section you are curious about, ask Chris after the speech. And he's going to be our person dealing with these important proposals. Ulster County realized significant savings by managing its own prescription drug and healthcare plans. Estimates at the time pegged the savings at approximately $5 million, and Legislator Allen will be working to create a subcommittee to look into what options we have regarding our healthcare vendors and to look in which plans the county should be potentially utilizing. Now, before somebody screams operations, let me be clear. Chris will be looking at what we are currently getting out of our vendors and what we can do better. I'm pretty sure that everyone on both sides of the aisle and in both sides of this floor can support that. Take-home vehicles. An issue that continues to bear examination is the county policies on take-home vehicles. Now, this includes but is not limited to the Department of Public Works and the Sheriff's Department. However, these are not the only two departments that follow this practice. That's something that people need to be aware of. While not pervasive, there are several departments that have take-home vehicles. Legislators Briggs and Bartels will be taking the lead on an overall policy for take-home vehicles. The appointments process. Appointments are always understood to be somewhat political in nature, not necessarily partisan, but political. Under Legislator Briggs, the then chair of economic development, he took a rare step to interview all candidates equally using standard questions. One of the first times that I think we've ever seen that happen, and Tom, thank you for doing that. It was very impressive. Chairman Ronk and Environmental Chair Parity used a similar process for the most recent RRA appointments. The Democratic caucus supports the idea of interviewing all candidates equally. We embrace that. And indeed, we think it should go further. Legislators Bartels, Berkey, and Green will be working on a new policy to rank and score appointments in a similar fashion to how we rank and score RFPs. In addition, they will be looking at how we advertise appointments to county boards and commissions. We could revolutionize how we do appointments and can provide the public with a better sense of why a candidate was appointed. On the issue of finance, tourism has always been one of our most important industries. When this county reimposed the bed tax, we knew it would be a way to help our taxpayers. However, new technology and new ideas create new problems as well as new opportunities. The Airbnb is one of the most successful of online housing options for visitors to our county. It is, however, fairly unregulated and creating an unfair market for our traditional hotels and motels. I have asked Legislator John Hepner to take the lead on the Airbnb issue to ensure that we restore balance in the marketplace and ensure the county receives this valuable revenue stream. And John, I know that this has been something that you've been talking about since day one as a legislator, so thank you for taking the lead on this. And I hope that you'll be working with our comptroller as well as the government review committee on this important issue. I would be remiss not to mention the issue of sales tax, probably the most polarizing issue facing this legislature this year. While our caucus has not taken a position, I will say with some confidence, and I'll probably find out afterwards if this is true, but at the very least, I know that our caucus wishes to see no change in the agreement for 2016 and 2017, as we continue to work with the towns and the city of Kingston on an equitable agreement that all parties can agree to. And it is my hope that we can find the proverbial win-win scenario for all parties involved. Environment. I could probably dedicate 2 hours to this subject alone, but I will not bore you with those details. The Solid Waste Commission, which I co-chair with my friend Supervisor Chipman of the town of Rochester, inches closer to completion. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the work of my fellow commissioners, including Mr. Briggs, Ms. Bartels, Ms. Green. We have before us a resolution tonight to appoint new representatives from the RRA, the City of Kingston, and our legislative chair, Mr. Ronk, to our ranks. Our commission has logged numerous weeks traveling around the state to come up with what we view as the best short-term and long-term solutions to our solid waste issue. After our report is finalized, it will be sent to the RRA and to the legislature for action. And it is my hope that we will have the political will to see its findings through to fruition. Part of our charge as legislators is to protect public health of our citizens. In a bipartisan fashion, legislators Warrow and Bartels worked so diligently on the issue of polystyrene, one of the most impressive pieces of legislation I've ever had the pleasure of voting for. I'm pleased this partnership has spawned a new piece of legislation, a proposal calling for regarding the so-called toxic toys. It is my hope that this legislation, which other counties have also passed, makes its way to the floor in the coming months. I hope all legislators join us in making sure the word toxic is never associated with the word toy in this county ever again. Our children should never be placed in such obvious risk. On the issue of housing, former Chair John Parody has been an advocate for housing, indeed for housing for the less fortunate amongst us. So I am pleased to say that he will be working on the possibility of an Ulster County Housing Authority, and I look forward to his government efficiency and review findings on the matter. It is our hope that housing for all income groups is promoted. Exclusionary zoning hurts appropriate growth in communities. Our caucus, of course, respects home rule, but recognizes that municipalities have to be more receptive to housing for all income groups. So this coming term, we look forward to calling upon the county and working with the executive's office on having them renew the housing strategies report, which, if memory serves, was done 10 years ago. A few things may have changed in the past 10 years. And it's our hope that the county executive and the planning department will make this a reality this coming year. Economic development. As previously mentioned, the subject of economic development gets mentioned year after year in both majority and minority speeches. It is one of the few areas the legislature truly has equal footing with the executive, and some may argue we have more tools within our purview. Our caucus will do whatever is necessary to support the county's efforts in economic development, but to be clear, we will assert our role in this process. The makeup of the Economic Development Committee shows that we will be more assertive than in previous years. Legislator Berkey previously served this county admirably as Deputy Planning Director. I have written Commissioner. I tried to upgrade you, Jen. And Legislator DeLawn previously managed the City of Newburgh Industrial Development Agency. Oddly, Jim and I are the only two legislators, to the best of my knowledge, who can claim to have actually worked for an economic development agency, and Jim did it a lot longer than I did. As part of this new spirit, we will be asking more questions of the executive. And while we can support his initiatives to bring techpreneurs or a film studio to this county, we also will be asking questions of what does this mean for the bread and butter industries of Ulster County? What does this mean for business expansion? Probably one of our main drivers in this county traditionally over the past 10 years has been focusing on existing businesses and how we expand those businesses, how we assist existing businesses already here in this county. What does this mean for infrastructure? We know full well that if we're talking about a movie studio, you are going to be needing things like broadband. So these are all going to be parts of questions that we are going to be pushing for answers to. So establishing the priorities for both the executive and the legislature as an equal partnership must happen now, or we will encounter a conflict that hurts the very efforts to improve people's lives. Our committee will be examining all the tools available for economic development, whether it's the revolving loan fund, the shovel ready fund, the IDA, how we allocate out community development block grants, CDBG for those who follow acronyms, or even our relationships, to the Ulster County Economic Development Agency. Now, I want to take a moment to thank former legislator Archer for keeping the issue of broadband, which I touched on earlier, broadband access alive and well. At a recent meeting of the Supervisors Association, Chairman Ronk and I received a clear and strong message from our partners: hold Time Warner Cable accountable. And to that end, the Democratic Caucus stands ready to work with the executive to push for access for all, whether that means in rural towns or for affordable broadband for our poorest communities. However, it needs to be noted, we also plan to take an active role in the process, and that's something that you're seeing in committee happening right now. I want to just close, and actually just one quick aside, that my good friend Peter Lauren will be working with the DPW committee on the family court issue. And I know, Peter, that you're going to be looking at all options and taking care and making sure that we will have a facility worth the name of a county courthouse. Thank you for all those efforts, Peter. In closing, during my 12 and a half years here, I have seen this legislature accomplish many things, many amazing things. During former Chairman Donaldson's tenure, we passed more local laws, cut government spending, tackled government corruption, finished a jail, passed a charter form of government, and that only happened in 4 years. President John F. Kennedy often talked of vigor in government, and that's exactly what's needed at this point in time for this legislature. It is our choice to work together on these issues, our choice to assert ourselves as an equal branch of government, and our choice to either succeed or fail. If you have just heard the agenda of the Democratic Caucus. That is not to say that other issues won't come to the forefront during the session, but it will be a choice as to whether both caucuses choose to join together with us to make real changes for our citizens. And it will be the choice of the executive if he chooses to meet this legislature as an equal partner. I guess the question shall be whether or not there's courage in the room to take the next step forward. Thank you.
Thank you both for your speeches and your words, your initiatives, and your service. At this time, we have a period of public comment. Madam Clerk, is there anybody signed up?
There's two people. I'm not sure that they're still here. Lauren Rato.
Thanks for allowing me to speak. And I wanted to thank Legislator Berkey and the entire legislature for standing behind the legislation that was passed in the Assembly to try to increase the tax credit, the film tax credit, to include the Mid-Hudson Valley rather than exclude the Mid-Hudson Valley. For the past decade, we've been basically dismissed in terms of that. Before I go into that, I did want to introduce myself. My name is Lauren Rato. I've lived in Ulster County for 28 years. I've lived in Shangan, West Hurley, Woodstock, Shokan. I love this area. I was a filmmaker in New York City, moved up here. I've been passionate about bringing film to the area. For 17 years, I've been working as the Hudson Valley Film Commission. I've also co-founded the Woodstock Film Festival. We've been able to bring enormous amounts of talent to the area. A lot of those people come back and make their films here. They spend a lot of money here, but they don't spend enough money. The tax credit has really, the lack of additional tax credits has really hurt the area in terms of the size of the films we get. Last year, we collect all the data for all the filmmaking in the area. Last year, $6.8 million was spent locally, which sounds great, but with the additional tax incentives, we should be able to get that up about tenfold. Just Monday, I got a phone call that a film that was considering shooting in the area has decided to go to Canada. One of the reasons they're doing so is because of the lack of the additional incentives. Obviously, the 60-cent dollar is hard to compete with, but because we don't get that additional incentive, we can't compete for those big films. This was a film by a director who's extremely well known. It was a film that was going to star Jennifer Lawrence. This is the second year in a row that we're losing a film with Jennifer Lawrence. And they were going to spend at least $30 million. The director has family in the area. We're very fortunate to have an incredible pool of talent in the area that wants to bring films to the area, and those jobs will create a massive boon in terms of economic development, not for stars, not for directors, not for producers, but for people who work in the area and who right now have to travel to New York City or elsewhere to get employment. We want those people to be able to work at home. You know, we have there's an incredible grip and electric truck in Olive Bridge. They have to travel to Brooklyn. I mean, the stories are endless about the number of films that we lose because of the lack of legislation. Anyway, I can go on forever with stories that films that we've lost. The good news is that we do very well. That's one of the reasons the legislature, I think, decided not to give the Hudson Valley the additional tax credit. They thought we do well enough, but the fact is, the average film is $375,000. It should be, and IATSE considers an extremely low budget film anywhere from 1.6 million to 2.2 million. So we don't even get an extreme low budget film for the most part. The 10% incentive additional incentive will allow us to compete for those films. We're very grateful that you're supporting this. The next week's going to be extremely important. We are really hopeful that this will be put into the budget for 2016, 2017, and I just thank you for your support and hope you can make those phone calls and make this happen. Thank you very much.
That's our last speaker, our only speaker. At this time, it provides a great opportunity to remind any legislators that haven't already. There's a letter that everyone signed. Okay. Yeah. Would you like to speak? Come on up.
Be so kind. I didn't know you were supposed to sign in before.
It's all right.
There you go. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Just please state your name and where you're from.
Michael DiBenedetto, and I'm from near Miller Mountain. And I don't know if you can hear me, but
You have to go to the microphone and use the microphone, but Fawn will help you.
So, I'm not doing a presentation per se, but I just wanted to with all the information, all the news on lead contamination that we've seen, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, put this on your radar, something that we should be thinking about in terms of possible lead contamination for children or adults in our area, as was mentioned earlier. And the way this is coming into the area, it's going in through food banks as donated venison. Currently, New York State has somewheres around 40,000 pounds of venisons donated by hunters that goes into the venison donation program, and that goes into the food pantries across the state. And I'm not opposed to hunting. I'm not opposed to this. It's a wonderful program. It's a good use for the venison. But there's a loophole, I think, that somehow or other needs to be closed. Yeah. If I was a farmer and I wanted to donate beef to this program, it would run through an inspection. It would go through ag and markets. There would be some sort of inspections. Because it's game meat, and this is what I was told by somebody in ag and markets, because it's game meat, that does not get inspected. And studies have been I think since 2007, when there was he was a professor, University of Minnesota. He was concerned about lead contamination in venison. He was a hunter. He x-rayed the venison packages. I think this is one of his photos that's on here. I don't know if you can see the lead that's inside the packages of venison. The CDC came in 2008, May of 2008, studied people that consumed venison, and what they found out was that people that consumed venison or game meat had 2/3 higher, their blood level was 2/3 higher than people who did not. But they also said that the people that were in this study still had a lower lead level than the average in the U.S. So people have said, well, then it's meaningless. They aren't getting enough lead out of venison. But if any of you have watched the news lately, the CDC says there is no safe limit, particularly for children,
in terms of exposure to lead. There's no safe limit. There's going to be issues regardless. They've lowered their from 10 micrograms per deciliter to 5 when there's going to be some intervention. Oh, sorry, taking place. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to say where this is coming from. With the cartridges that we use these days, they've gone from 1,500 feet per second. Now some of them are approaching 4,000 feet per second, and they explode, and they end up going all through the carcass. And this is a deer that was X-rayed, eviscerated, so you don't see the contaminants in the guts. But you can see how far out these particles travel. So even though a hunter or processor may go ahead and cut out around the wound channel, I'm sorry, I'm going to be done. There's still going to be lead in that, and I just think it's something that we should have on our radar. I don't know what the answer is, but something we should look at in terms of closing that loophole. Thank you very much for your time.
Is there anybody else in the room who'd like to speak tonight? Okay, so we'll move along to resolutions. Legislator Mayo, do we have a motion to move some resolutions into consent from non-consent?
Yes, Chairman. We would like to move the following. Resolution 145, 171, and 172.
I'm getting a nod from the clerk that 145 is not.
We agreed
okay.
on the sidebar. He didn't agree to that one.
Okay. So would you repeat one more time for everybody?
Sure.
Thank you.
Resolutions 145, 171, and 172 to consent.
Legislator Rodriguez, do you
second that.
Okay. All in favor of moving those into consent?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On the consent agenda?
We have a short yes, with the exception of Resolution 142 with an abstention for Legislator Warrow, and an abstention on Resolution 145 for Legislator Gerantine.
I'm sorry, before we record the vote, it looks like Legislator Donaldson would like to speak.
Yes, I do. We have a number of contracts that we're running through, that basically came through legislative programs, but what I want to point out is these important programs that we are funding, and I want to applaud the members of this legislative body that has continuously pushed to make sure that these type of programs are funded, like the 180 program, which is a new program, great program, along with, you've got the Cornell Cooperative, CASA, Mid-Hudson Arts, supervised visitation, UPAC, community action, the library, soil and water. I mean, these things are very important, and they are ours. We're the ones that fund them. They're legislative programs, and you should be proud that you are funding those programs.
Thank you, Legislator Donaldson. Legislator Rodriguez, on the consent agenda?
Short yes.
The resolutions are adopted 22-0 with the exception of Resolution 142, which is adopted 21-0 with one abstention, Legislator Warrow, and Resolution 145, which is adopted 21-0 with one abstention, Legislator Gerantine.
At this time, we're going to block these together. There's one beforehand?
Yep.
Never mind.
On the non-consent.
Resolution 112, reestablishing the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee, Ulster County Legislature.
Legislator Donaldson.
I hate to be the only person speaking again, but anyway, I will. This is a little tough for me because there's a number of people on there that I have a great deal of respect for, particularly the legislative people that are being appointed. I think every one of them are more than what is actually needed. They're great. The problem is we have a person that's being reappointed that has been in the front line on various lawsuits against Bel Air, that in economic environment, economic development issue there. I think maybe 5, I'm not sure the total number of those, constantly doing that. If you take a look at the lawsuit dealing with the railroad that has ran us, I don't know how much money, them well over $500,000. I believe some of that was part of the idea that she was pushing the county executive to force an eviction. Now, that may or may not be true, but I know the other ones are definitely true. So I really have a problem with the appointment of her continuing to be on advisory boards when I feel that she is a detriment to the county at this point. But having said that, I will bite my lip, shall we say, and I'll vote for it because the other people that are on it, I also been concerned, and I guess I heard tonight from Mary Beth that there will be a railroad advisory board or something, at least keeping an eye on that corridor. So I'm glad that was said. And while I'm up here, I might as well congratulate both the minority and the majority leader. You both did a great job. But I will be voting yes, even though it's very difficult to do.
Legislator Rich Parity.
Thanks, Chairman. I'm going to be voting no on this resolution. Thought I was supporting Legislator Donaldson, but I'll be on my own on it. I do also have concerns. I like Kathy a lot, but what I've seen from her is she has her mind made up ahead of time on every issue. She spoke against a strainer, cleaning up the strainer in the Environmental Committee last week. She's suing, her organization's suing Dean Gator up in Bel Air. They've gone through 15 years of approvals, and in Shandaken and Delaware County, 15 years of going through approvals, and finally got approved by the New York State DEC, and an organization that she's involved with filed the lawsuit. So I like Kathy a lot as a person, but I just think her mind's made up, and I don't think those kind of folks are always good for committees. I think we need a committee of open-minded people, and that are going to go in there and willing to make concessions and work with everyone, not impose their beliefs on everyone. Thanks.
On the resolution?
We will be a short yes with 2 noes, Legislator Warrow and Legislator Parity.
You know what? Put me back down as a no. I'm sorry about that.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. It's final offer. We are short yes with 1 no. Legislator Donaldson.
The resolution is adopted 19-3. Oh, I'm sorry, 18-3. Legislator Lopez is not here. 19, nope. 19-3. I want to get that right on the record. 19-3.
Resolution 130, amending the 2016 Ulster County budget to reimburse indicated Ulster County towns for flood mitigation work in the wake of Hurricane Irene.
Legislator Jarentine.
I'd like to make 2 amendments.
Did you turn it off?
Turn it off?
Turn it off.
There it is. All right, 2
Everybody,
amendments.
just a quick reminder, do not turn off the microphones. They are all on. They all stay on the whole session.
All right, on the contingency where it says from transfer to the amount, we're going to delete the AA 1990.1331-46 contingency, and we're going to put in there snow removal overtime, DD 5142-1410.1410. Just taking money not coming out of contingency but coming out of snow removal overtime, since compared to last year at this time, we're probably about $150,000 less than we used last year. Also, too, at the end of this resolution, resolve that the Commissioner of Finance is hereby authorized to make any and all budget modifications, transfers, and entries necessary to effectuate the disbursements of funds into the various eligible towns. Just add that. Because he cannot transfer, this is AA, where it's contingency, we need to go DD. So that would give him the authority to move it and be transferred into transferred.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Can I say something, Jim?
Yeah. Legislator, I'm sorry, Leader Mayo.
I just want to say, after last week's meeting about the towns and the money and the process, I think we all learned that the process was horrible, and that wasn't on our part. But I believe we've all come together to realize that it was a horrible process, and we need to get to the point of making these towns whole. And no matter which town it is, they all deserve to be whole. It was a terrible thing that happened, and it was something that normally doesn't happen. And I think it took us all a little bit off guard. But we need to work hard to get this resolved, and I believe this is the way to do it. And I think everybody voting yes would show that.
Any other discussion? Legislator Manager Green?
I just want to be sure I want to point out how important minority and women business enterprise is, and just be sure that I believe that we should sponsor a training for all the towns in the county, so that while the towns are made whole, and hopefully the county will be made whole in this regard, I just want to bring everybody up to speed. It is the law. Everyone should know it's the law. It's been the law for a long time, but I think there's some education that's needed here. Thank you.
On the amendment?
We're short yes.
Short yes.
The motion to amend is adopted 22-0.
On the resolution, Legislator Rodriguez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the majority leader said, there were problems. I'm trying to be polite, but I will say, give credit where credit is due. I want to thank the county executive. We obviously dealt with Resolution 172, which got thrown into consent, so therefore we've already voted on that, and that at least helps to resolve the problem. And in that regard, also giving credit where credit is due. I'm glad that there were legislators who stayed on top of this issue and did not let it go. But again, give credit where credit is due. I'm very happy the executive took the time to ensure that the money came through for us. Thank you.
Legislator Donaldson?
You know, as legislators, we often pass, John turned it off on me.
Turn it back on.
And I was going to compliment him too. Now I'm taking it back. You know, we often pass laws, resolutions. We come in here and we fund money for programs, and you know, we figured that the programs are going to be done. But sometimes things do fall through the cracks, and and what happens is there needs to be some of us to keep an eye out on that. And that's what I want to congratulate Legislator John Parity, because he understood what was going on. And he made sure our attorney at that point really researched that to find out that, you know, what exactly went wrong here. And it found out that it was not those towns whatsoever. And our attorney, who's still amongst us, of course, did a great job at that. Chris knew what he was, you know, he really beat down the doors and, you know, looked up every little nook and cranny, and it found out exactly what they gave. So, I mean, those things happen. So I don't think we should be beating, you know, the dead horse on who's to blame here. I'm glad that it's finally taken care of, and I'm glad that Legislator John Parity was on top of this, so these towns are going to be made whole. Thanks, John.
Any other discussion? On the resolution?
We're short yes.
Short yes.
On the resolution as amended, it's adopted 22-0.
At this time, I'd like to call on Legislator Gerentine for a motion to block some resolutions together.
Yeah, I'd like to bundle resolutions 132 through 138, excluding 137.
Is there a second? All in favor of blocking those together? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Also, I'd like to bundle or add amendment to those resolutions, the bundle resolutions, that on the resolve, on each resolution, the first resolve, that any price paid pursuant to this contract shall not exceed those prices provided in the contract offered by New York State Office of General Services Procurement Services. Just take out the per units on each line.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the amendment? On the amendment?
We're short yes.
Short yes.
On the amendment, it's adopted on all resolutions by a vote of 22-0.
Now on the resolutions?
We are short yes.
Short yes.
Resolutions adopted as amended, 22-0.
Resolution 154, authorizing the replacement of the Carmine-Liberta Bridge in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,337,000, and authorizing the issuance of $1,847,000 in bonds of said county to pay part of the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs. DeLon. Donaldson.
I would. I'm thrilled to support this bridge in New Paltz, just as unfortunately the bridge in Kingston that's going to be $3.5 million was not going to be funded by the county because within the city of Kingston. Also, otherwise it would have been, or the Washington Avenue sinkhole that is right through the thoroughfare of the city of Kingston that would normally have been a county project at some. I think it may be at about $10 million at this point. Even though the county does not participate in that, and that's because we are a city, and that's one of the things. It's why we have the tax sharing agreements that we have. But I support bridges being taken care of in New Paltz because that's the kind of legislator I am.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Jarentine. Green. Hepner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts. Rodriguez.
Very much yes.
Runk.
Yes.
Worrell. Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 159, authorizing the cost of reconstruction of various road shoulders throughout in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $250,000, and authorizing the issuance of $250,000 in bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson. Fabiano.
Yes.
Jarentine. Green.
Yes.
Hepner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Worrell.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 161, authorizing the reconstruction of various parking lots in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $150,000, and authorizing the issuance of $150,000 in bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Jarentine.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hepner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
Worrell.
Yes.
Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 163, authorizing slope stabilization of various county roads in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $780,000, and authorizing the issuance of $780,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Jarentine. Green.
Yes.
Hepner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo. Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yep.
Parity Richard. Roberts. Rodriguez. Ronk.
Yes.
Morrow. Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 165, authorizing the replacement of bridges throughout, in, and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $673,000, and authorizing the issuance of $673,000 bonds of said county to pay part of the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels. Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey. Briggs. DeLon. Donaldson.
Oh, well, of course, I love spending all this money on these bridges. Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Jarentine. Green. Hepner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo. Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
Worrell. Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 167, authorizing a public hearing as required for the Achieving Homeownership in Ulster County program funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG, and administered by the Office of Community Renewal, Department of Planning.
How's he doing?
Legislator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be voting for this, but as mentioned in my comments, we will, as a caucus, be looking at other opportunities for utilizing the Community Development Block Grant. That's not to say that housing's not important. Clearly, we know it's important. We know that we do these grants for very specific reasons because we know we have a need. That said, going forward, we will be looking for other opportunities and other programs that this program could be helping. So, with that, I don't have any other comments.
On the resolution?
We are short yes.
Short yes.
Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 127, supporting the passage of A06090/S04280 to authorize ride sharing in the state of New York.
Legislator Hepner.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to quickly thank the staff, as this was my first resolution going through, as well as the Economic Development Committee, chaired by Legislator Maloney, for letting me come in to discuss this. I put this forth because I believe that New York State is on the brink of making this a reality. It's sponsored by majority members in both houses that represent parts of Ulster County, Senator Seward and Assemblyman Cahill. And I believe it's time that New York State allow upstate communities, specifically us in Ulster County, to bring in ride-sharing programs. Best known would be Uber. We talked a lot tonight about economic development, promoting businesses. A recent study done in Hoboken, New Jersey showed that 30% of all Uber rides began or ended at a small business. So this is a common sense way to stimulate our local economy. I encourage all of us to put pressure on our other legislators that represent us here in Ulster County on the state level, so we can do a better job connecting main streets here. Thanks a lot.
We are short yes.
Short yes.
Resolution adopted 22-0.
Resolution 128, urging the governor and legislature of the state of New York to gradually restore the 50-50 state-county cost sharing for the safety net program and to increase shelter grant reimbursement to counties.
Majority Whip Belfilio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Boy, have I got a deal for you. With all the talk in the last 3 years of taking safety net over at 71% county share, what this resolution is asking is to bring back the 2011 figures of 50% county and 50% state. When I was up at NISAC last month, I attended a Health and Human Services Committee, and they brought this resolution forward, and they passed it and sent it to all the counties, all the elected officials in the state, the governor, the Assembly, and the House. One of the things that I find alarming, and in no way am I alienating any part of the population, but we are only one of 11 states that actually provide benefits to childless adults in the country. And to foot the bill for 71% of that at a time when we're having so many difficulties with our towns and our city's budget, a 50-50 share between the state and the county would be a welcome relief. And I think that I hope everybody votes yes on this because it's a sensible resolution. Thank you.
Legislator Donaldson?
I'm sorry if I'm making a pain of myself tonight, but that's what I do.
We love you anyway, Dave.
No problem. Try to read this, and if you don't mind. All right, actually, on this resolution, and some people may not realize it, but Assemblyman Cahill, as does Assemblyman Scartados, I think I'm saying his name right. They have a resolution in the Assembly to take over the entire cost, not the 50%, by the state. But having said that, back in 2011, when they did change the formula, they went from 50 to 71%. What you're not saying is they also changed the TANF formula. And that's the much more money. That's the one that's all the non-safety net welfare, in other words, with children and everything else of that nature. And that actually netted the county, I think, somewhere around $3 million more coming into our coffers. So we sometimes ignore those facts. So, and I do have one problem with, and I don't mean to pick a fight with Legislator Pafiglio, but they are our adults that we're talking about. They are our citizens that we're covering. We're not covering somebody that's coming here, flying in from Massachusetts to get on our safety net program, or flying in from Florida. I mean, they are our adults. So, I mean, I understand, if you can get the state to pay for it, that's great. I mean, maybe we can get them to pay for our electric bills. I mean, that'd be nice too. But, I mean, they are our constituents. They are our people. So, I mean, I'll support this because, hey, if we can get the state to pay for it, that's wonderful. Maybe we could put the electric bill in next month.
Legislator Belfiglio.
I'm sorry. I did say that I wasn't going to alienate any population. I just stated a fact, that is a fact, that we're only one of 11 states. Also, I had wanted to amend this resolution, but I see the amendment never got in it. It doesn't matter. I'll just tell you about it. The county's budget office told me that in 2016, just for our share of the safety net costs, we've allotted $11 million. I think it was $11.5 million. 2016. So I think that with that figure in mind, a 50% share would be much more equitable. And I don't think the state is going to take over safety net costs 100%. I think it'd be a very cold day and probably take a very long time.
Legislator Donaldson?
Again, what I'm trying to point out is you can make that argument. Yes, I understand the argument. It would be wonderful that they pay for that. But the TANF course and the formula for that, we're getting more back than what it's costing us for the safety net. So in reality, it's not like, I mean, we often like to point the finger at the state and saying what a crummy job they're doing. But you know what? We are the pass-through. That's what we do. We're the ones that are supposed to carry out the programs. The money comes through here, and it comes through to help our constituents, our citizenry out. And hey, I certainly understand your argument. I'll support it, but I mean there's some question about it sometimes.
Legislator Belfiglio.
I just want to say
he spoke twice.
It's a memorializing resolution, and I'm sorry, I don't understand why there's so much debate. TANF is a federal program, and it is ending soon. Okay, we're talking about 71% of the safety net costs of the county. I know even 1.5% would be a lot to some municipalities.
question.
There's been a motion to call the question.
2/3. Not debatable, 2/3. It's not debatable, 2/3 vote.
I hear a number of motions to call the question,
All
Legislator
right,
Donaldson.
but you did allow him to speak three
No, it's a
times when he shouldn't have done it.
Point of order. Somebody calls the question, it's not debatable, it's a 2/3 vote. So I called the question. So it's a 2/3 vote. If 2/3 say yes, debate's cut off and we vote.
On the motion to call the question.
I don't care.
Oh, okay, never mind. On the resolution.
It's a short yes.
Short yes? Short yes.
The resolution is adopted 22-0.
Point of debate on a unanimous resolution. I'll tell you. Everyone, if you quiet down. At this time, I would like to call on Legislator Kevin Roberts to read the memorials of those who we are adjourning in memory of.
Timothy Harkins, Kingston, New York. Peter Calfano, Marlborough, New York. I'd like to point out that Peter is Richie's cousin. Margaret Gaynor, Kingston, New York. Marion Berger, Ocala, Florida. Louise Turner Ambrose, Kingston, New York. Frederick Decker, Gardner, New York. Claudia Andreasen, Belay, Saugerties. Robert D. Moores, Saugerties. Doris H. Fronefield, Kingston. Erica Hinchy, Saugerties. Assunta Zemeka, Highland. Virginia P. Greco, Mount Marion. Woodrow Spurl, Saugerties. Charles Wiener, West Shokan. M. Francis Bohan, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Margaret Peters, Kingston, New York. Frank Fabi Jr., Palm Coast, Florida. Joseph S. Thurin, Kingston, New York. Edward A. Trombley, Kingston, New York. Mary White Pesky, Saugerties. Jeanette A. Dunn, Kingston. Salvatore Anastasio, New Paltz. Elaine R. Stessen, Tilson. Eugene V. DeMayo, Olive Bridge.
Legislator Green.
I would also like to adjourn in the memory of Tracy Herman, Dutchess County legislator who had recently been appointed to LGB, see if I can say this properly, LGBQT as executive director.
Legislator Lauren.
Oh, City Council, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'd also like to add to this list Rose Krajewski, who passed away this past week from Kingston.
Legislator Gerantine.
Also, Madeline Porpelia, well-known family in Marlborough. She lived there all her life. They're a big farm family, and she's going to be missed very much.
Legislator Hepner.
I wanted to add to the memory Coach Carol O'Corn. For those who represent the Ontario School District, they know of her legacy of decades coaching women's sports. She was very influential back in the day in ensuring more equality for women athletes, especially student athletes. And she was a longtime resident of West Hurley. Thank you.
Legislator Briggs.
Ken Cook from Napanock.
Anybody else? Legislator Allen.
I just wanted to call attention to Erica Hinchy passing away. That's the former wife of Maurice Hinchy. She was the former mayor of the village of Saugerties, too.
Thank you. Okay, with that, the next regular meeting of the Ulster County Legislature will be held on April 19th, 2016 at 7 p.m. in Legislative Chambers, 6th floor, Ulster County Office Building, 244 Fair Street in Kingston, New York. Resolution deadline is Wednesday, March 30th at 12 noon. I hope everybody has a very safe and healthy St. Patrick's Day. And with that, Legislator Litz.
Isn't that
that great?
Look at that
That-
picture on the
Happy
wall.
St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Richie loves it.
All in favor?
Huh? Come on, Rich. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. Don't worry, Rich. You'll never see me up on a table.
Promise?